In this episode, I'm going to tell you how I overcame fear by being just that damn good. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? My name's Michael Sahno, and welcome to the Sea and Land Fitness Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness, the home of professional tactical fitness. If you need anything in the professional tactical fitness world, head on over to www.sandlfit.com. That's www.sandlfit.com, and pick up one of our programs or pick up some of our gear, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. This podcast is also brought to you by 511 Tactical, makers of some of the best tactical gear and tactical fitness gear, which I use every day. It feels like. And we're also brought to you by Thorne Supplements, makers of some of the most amazing supplements on the planet, supplements that I use actually every day. And what's so great about them is what's on the outside of the bottle on the label is inside the bottle, because they use third-party verification on all their products. And finally, we're also brought to you by RDX Sports, makers of some of the finest combat sports equipment on the planet, boxing gloves, focus pad mitts, which I use in our program, which, again, I cannot stress enough. Head on over to our website and check them out. We actually have the focus pad mitts on the site, and we carry them for the same price as Amazon. So support a local business, support a veteran-owned business, and head on over there and grab some today. All right, so we're in the thick of it. It's a pretty strong statement that I made at the beginning. If can skill overcome fear? Can it overcome anxiety? I have one of the lights off in the studio. Let me put that back on. I don't know if that actually made much of a difference, but anyways, who cares? I'm gonna have a sip of coffee real quick. Peter Madeira, this is for you. My Cafe Bustelo instant coffee. Now you guys know what I drink. I get it at the exchange. I used to get it or at the commissary. I used to get it. Where did I get it? At Amazon. And I drink instant coffee, and that goes all the way back to the Navy, and bringing the kind of coffee I wanted with me underway and on deployment. But I also brought that over to the Army. That is neither here nor there, and that's not why you're here. That's not what you want to listen to. What you want to listen to is how I overcame my fear, how I overcame my anxiety with skill, which so you guys know that I went to school for this crap, that I went to the University of Florida, and I got my master's in applied physiology, and the component of that APK program, which is what the University of Florida's program, applied physiology and kinesiology, what that program has inside it, which is phenomenal, is a very heavy sports psych component, which you take a major exam at the end of the program to ensure that you have the skill set and the necessary knowledge for sports psychology. It's why I speak about it so much, is because they have a beyond par level of mentors. That's about, I mean, it's not just instruction, it's mentorship. And there are a lot of things that I learned. And if you read the newsletter that I put out, that Sea and Land Fitness puts out, we have our core terms, sports science terms that we break down in very simple terms so people can understand them. Of course, we have the exercise physiology, we have sports nutrition, but we also have performance psychology as one of the things that we break down. And the reason I'm able to put that into the newsletter is because of the strength of the program that I came from and my constant, reading and researching on the subject after my program and its applications and what I do here. So I'm going to tell you how I applied sports psychology, performance psychology to my life, and how practitioners aren't always the best at taking their own direction. Okay. So I'm going to have another sip of coffee because this is going to be a mouthful. All right. So if any of you have been watching or listening to this podcast, a couple months ago, I did a podcast on shooting with an essential tremor. I have an essential tremor. So I actually went to the VA yesterday with my wife, who is a rock star, and she had so many things to do. She is a bigwig ad executive. She makes the bucks, but she puts in the time and is worth every dime. Because, she's just got this brain for it. She's got this brain for, this mash of creativity and numbers, and she can do it all. So because of that, she's in very high demand at her company. Her time is worth a lot. She gets hundreds of dollars an hour in billing. The company does. We don't see that. But she gets hundreds of dollars an hour. Well, maybe, but we're not discussing that. I'm not getting in trouble with my wife. So, she's in demand at her company. There are nights when I'm watching some of my favorite shows on the couch with her, and she's hammering away on her laptop, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, trying to come up with like some spreadsheet for a client or something like that. So her time is very valuable, and she took some of that time and apportioned it to me, allotted it to me, gave it to me as a gift by showing her support when I went to neurology. Now, I had that video that I did, told you about the trials that I've gone through in trying to shoot as my hand shakes. I'm over accentuating right now if you're watching on camera. But if I just hold it, yeah, that's how much it shakes normally. But I deal with it. I manage it. There's a thing called a what is it called? Like a sine rhythm. Okay. So you have peaks and valleys where the sine wave goes up and down, up and down. And it can be applied to just about anything. It's not just radio waves. It can be applied to motions. It can be applied to literal waves. You know what I mean? Things in nature. And one of the things that it exhibits itself in is my tremor. So I'll have a peak and a valley, a peak and a valley. So when I'm shooting, I have to pretty much find the sweet spot for this shake and send the bullet to the target in that sweet spot. And I'm good at it. I'm really good at it. The reason I'm good at it though is because I've put in the time on the range on a very specific pistol and tried to master the skill and the tool. So I don't know if there's anyone out there who shoots, or even if you're interested in this. So I was in the Navy and the Army. And it doesn't take much to spook us. You know what I mean? We're around loud noises all the time. If you're a dental tech, you're probably not around loud booms all the time. But if you are in the infantry, you're around it a lot. And we shoot our rifle all the time. Okay. Now, break from service, you get out, and then all of a sudden you're going back to the range. And all of a sudden you're jumping a little bit. Woo. Oh, wow. That was a pistol. Okay. All right. I'm fine. Oh, that was another one. All right. So it takes a little while. The dead and quiet of civilian life, the peace and quiet, and tranquility of civilian life. You don't hear this stuff all the time. So when I went back to the range, I wasn't jumpy. I was heightenedly, that's not even a word, but I'm going to use it, heightenedly aware of these loud noises as they occurred. I wasn't able to dampen them in my attention. Okay. So attention is anything that you focus on. So anytime it would happen, I would jump and I would look over. And that's just normal. That's even the biggest guy. You know what I mean? Think about if, I don't know if you've ever seen photos of cops accidentally shooting their firearm in the police station, or been around someone who accidentally didn't check their weapon in the squad bay and sent a round into their locker. Everyone jumps. No matter how cool you are, no matter how steely-eyed you are, you're gonna jump. So there is a familiarization you have to go through in order to be less attentive to the noise and volume of all of that going on. So that, and I know that I went into that kind of deep, and there's a reason why I went into that kind of deep. It's because, think about it, you're shooting a pistol. That's a little miniature explosion that's happening in your hand. Okay. So not only do you have the volume, the noise, the sudden report, boom, it's happened, which is going to be, to new shooters and to people who haven't shot in a while, a little bit startling. Was for me. I'm not going to be cool. There's no reason to be cool. Let's just be real. And then that all of that requires what we call familiarization. So, and I would say familiarization probably takes about a month or two. All right. So the reason I'm bringing that up is there's a step process. So you start with familiarization. You start with, think about if you're playing football and you get on the team and they notice that you run really well. Okay. And they say, we want you to be a receiver. And you're like, okay, I've never done this before. Yeah, but you can run real fast. You'll be real good at it. And then you can get out there long, and we're just going to get you ready for, we'll work on your catching skills. Okay, no problem. And then a very experienced quarterback sends a shotgun at you. And when it impacts you, you're startled because of the force that this quarterback is able to put into that football as he sends it out to you. And it startles you, and you, whoa, holy cow. It's going to take a little while for you to become acclimated, to become familiar with the impact and force of an experienced quarterback throwing a football at you. So familiarization is incredibly important, and it's pretty much the first step in developing a skill. So then you go from there, and I went from there, coming back from military life years later, and being in civilian life and going into shooting a pistol, and I had to be, you know, acclimated to the noise and volume and activity that was occurring on the range. Didn't take long, but it was in the beginning a little bit, whoa, holy cow. And I have a little bit of anxiety that I deal with from, the VA and stuff like that. There's, they said, you got this problem. And, sometimes situations will be a little more startling for me. And I have to admit that, than they would be for the average person. So it took me a couple of weeks to be able to really, really feel comfortable, and not jump out of my skin, when I wasn't prepared for a shot being shot on the range. When it was me, I was fine. Boom, no problem. When it was my partner on the other lane, no problem. But every once in a while, I would come on and someone was shooting like big old 45, and I would or a rifle in an indoor range, and the report is very loud. So I have an itch in my nose. Sorry about that. Excuse me. And, that rifle in an enclosed space is really like, whoa, holy crap. But anyways, so familiarization is very important. And it took me a couple of weeks, and it could take people a couple of weeks or a couple of months, depending on how much they do it, to really become familiar with the environment. Okay. And then also becoming familiar with the recoil and the explosiveness of the round, occurring in their hand. And I'm using that terminology. It's not exploding in your hand, but it's exploding in the chamber that you're holding in your hand. So it's a lot to process. So as I told you, Army, Navy, shot rifles in both, and really, really great at it, really good at it. Shot all the way back, started when I was a Boy Scout, stupid story. When I went away to Boy Scout camp, sleepaway camp, I was horribly homesick, was crying. They called my mom. They said, hey, he's not doing so hot. He's very homesick. He's crying. He wants to come home. We think we might have something, but we need to call you anyways. So they had a plan. They explained the plan to my mom, and the plan was to take me to the rifle range, little 22 rifle range. And I stayed there all day the entire time I was at Boy Scout camp, and it was fine. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And translated to me being in the military, love shooting rifles. And the reason I'm bringing that up, and the reason I'm patting myself on the back, hold on, I'm going to have another sip of coffee. The reason I'm patting myself on the back is shooting a rifle and shooting a pistol are two totally different things, two totally different skill sets. So I had mastered at a very young age where it's easy to adopt a skill. It's got to do with this thing called neuroplasticity and the ability of the brain and the muscles to link very efficiently at a young age. At an older age, it's not it's not so easy. You got to work at it, but it can be done. You kind of have to square it around, hole it, to get that skill. Really, really work at it. So what I did was, I realized when I went and, I went with this thought, hey, I could shoot. I'm a shooter. And I went and shot the pistol and ate it hard. Sucked at it. Not good at it at all. Was walking there's this thing called groups. Okay, for those of you who don't shoot. And groups are the area where the bullets hit on the target. So a group would be within a hole like around this size, depending on how far the target is. But overall, you want to have a group, a nice, clean, what's called a tight group. There are people who can get them that big, 10 shots, boom, right there. And my group, if at all on the target, was very wide. So, this was a skill I did not have. Being a good shooter on a rifle did not make me a good shooter on a pistol. Did not translate. So I have to develop this skill. So what did I do? I did some research on YouTube, because we all do research on YouTube. I sought some advice and some mentoring from people who had a lot of experience shooting. One of them is my old squad leader, who is a really great shot and was tremendously helpful. The staff at the range at West Point where I shoot, tremendously helpful. And it was weird because you would think, well, you're getting all these different voices. Don't you want to go to a singular voice, one person who is going to truly show you how to master this skill? And I took a different approach where I fire hosed it, drinking from a fire hose. I wanted to get as much information and parse all of it and try all of it, because at some point I knew I wanted to be a pistol instructor. We're going somewhere with that. So I spent like a year and a half on the range. Each year I added up the amount of rounds. Those are the bullets, cartridges that I shot. And on average, every year I shoot around 10,000 rounds. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's interesting because little things occurred on the way on my development of this skill. A really interesting data point is I like to do things in certain numbers, like 4 of these or 200 of these or 6 of these, 4 of these, 6 of these. Rarely do I do things outside of these mental number frames that I establish for myself. So 4 boxes is 200 rounds. 4 boxes of 50 rounds is 200 rounds. That's 200 bullets. So I would shoot them. But an interesting thing was happening. My essential tremor, I could control it up to 150 rounds. So that's 3 boxes. So that last box of 50 rounds was a waste of ammunition. It was a waste of my time at that stage of learning. Because think about it, I'm developing a skill and I'm also developing a skill with a disability. So how do I balance the two? Okay, because I want to get better at this skill, but I also want to not waste my time. You know what I mean? So interestingly, I started, and for probably about 10 months was shooting 200 rounds, and it took that long and that much money to realize that I was wasting a box of ammo every time I was going. I wasn't developing my skill further in that 50 rounds. So I went down to 150 rounds. And it's funny, this wasn't just an arbitrary, hey, I'm wasting a box of ammo, I'm going to do this. This was a thoughtful conversation with a gentleman named Mike, who is one of the range safety officers at West Point. And we really, you know, tried to Einstein this process. And we're really trying to, reflectively look at data and go, is my skill increasing with this added? So that can be applied to, think about running, think about exercising. Is that extra half hour in the gym doing anything? Could you more efficiently work out? Could you more efficiently run? Do you need to go 5 miles? Could you go 3 miles? And get the same impactful benefit. And that's what was happening here. So in the development of a skill, sometimes less is more. Interesting. But I wouldn't have found that out if I didn't go through this entire process. Another sip of coffee. So now we've got that. We've got familiarization. We've got, really honing in on increasing the skill and spending the appropriate amount of time on the skill. We've developed measures to overcome the disability. And we've really pushed. We've pushed the boundaries at bringing my level of pistol shooting up to my level of rifle shooting. And I am happy to say that we've done that. And I developed my skill. Am I the best pistol shooter on the planet? No, not at all. Am I Delta Force SEAL Team 6? No, not at all. But I'm a damn good shot. And I could probably shoot better than you with the disability. And how do I know that? Because last week, I attended a 3-day course that resulted in me becoming a certified NRA pistol instructor. I did it. And I cannot tell you, since January of this year, my anxiety level has been through the roof. Why? Because in order to become an NRA certified pistol instructor, you have to shoot a target that is 45 feet away with a group that's about that big. That's not easy. It's not easy. It's really not. Is it easy to hit a target 45 feet away? It's not difficult, but I'm not going to say it's easy. Is it difficult to shoot a target 45 feet away and get a 6-inch group, meaning within 6 inches, all of the bullets have to stay there? All of the hits on the target have to be within 6 inches? No, that's not easy. And I'm sure someone's going to listen to this and go, I could do that. There's no problem. Well, good for you, because you are a skilled shooter and you have mastered a skill, which is what I did. And I did it while also overcoming a disability. And anyone who knows me knows I'm not keen to use that word. I don't like using or expressing to people that I'm a disabled veteran. I don't mind telling them I'm a veteran. The disabled part kind of gives me the willies. Don't know why. It just does. It's some probably macho testosterone bullshit. But I'm averse to it. I don't like telling people that. I get embarrassed. But in this instance, I will ride that horse as long as it'll run, because I know, and my friends know, what I had to do in order to get this certification. And the reason I felt that it was important to explain all this to you and to let you know is I know that there are tons of people out there who have anxiety about being able to do some stuff, have anxiety about being able to accomplish things. I'm going to tell you all you need to do is work on your skill and just let your skill do the work when it comes time to get what you need done. And that's pretty much it. And if anyone has any questions or needs any help with that, reach out to me. You can find me. I'm not a ghost. You can find us on the website. You can find us on through YouTube, our social media, all of it. But you can overcome whatever you need to if you take the time and apply the skill. Are there instances where that won't work? Absolutely. But I'll tell you 9 times out of 10, if you really push, you'd be amazed. There are instances of people being in hospitals where doctors said, I'm sorry, bro, you are never going to walk again. And they've went through the PT, they went through the healing process, and they're walking and doing their old job. So, and that is a skill that they worked their asses off in order to accomplish their goal. So, all right, that's my story. That's it for today. All right, so yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Listen, this podcast, as I told you, is brought to you by See Me Using Knife Hands, instructor knife hands. This podcast is brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness. So head on over to www.sandlfit.com and check out all of our programs. I've got a free sandbag calisthenic workout program up there. Just go there. Go in. Use the videos. Free exercise library. Free program. Use it. If you are thinking about joining the military, for $10, one time, $10. You just go in, credit card, PayPal, whatever you want. You have access to our Tier 3 fitness program, which gives you all the things that you need, and videos, again, from our exercise library, but it gives you the specific programming that you can use to get to the strength level, fitness level, to go to boot camp for the military. If you're going to into boot camp and into the Marine Corps, well, that takes a little bit more toughness, a little bit more strength, endurance, conditioning, and we have the program for you. $10 if you're going into the Marine Corps or the Army Infantry or any of the Army Combat Arms. We have a program for you called the Tier 2. And again, $10. $10 one time. Go in, buy the program, lifetime access. Also, I would be remiss, and Tier 1 is coming soon. I just got to work out, I got to work on the videos. The videos are done. I just got to narrate them and edit them, and they will be up, and Tier 1 will be up. What else is coming? We're working on a shooting strength program. That's going to be coming soon. I'm actually going to be going over to a live range, and filming the exercises on the shooting range to give it context. And then what else? Also head on over to our store, pick up some of our gear, pick up the RDX. I got them in the back. The RDX Sports focus pad mitts for the knee raises. They are a lifesaver, and we sell them for the same price as Amazon does. So please help support us. And also support our sponsors, 511 Tactical. Who else? Thorne Supplements and RDX Sports. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Later, honey badgers. Out.